Now, moving away from that, I also then want to say, as he retired, he left Rift Valley without a leader to take his position. Over the years, there has been several attempts to take over the mantle. The late Nicholas Biwott, for example, your friend, Senator Gideon Moi, and now the DP, William Ruto. Let's now maybe agree that Ruto is the kingpin in the Rift Valley. How would you contrast the two?
Yes, William Ruto could be the kingpin in Rift Valley today, but I think it is a misplaced choice in my blunt view that if I had to look at Gideon Moi and look at William Ruto, they are far apart. Maybe William has learned to socialize, but he doesn't socialize genuinely. And it is taking Gideon time to actually socialize. But the two are miles apart. One is a human being and another one is something else.
Let's then, first of all, look at this man, William Ruto. Cyrus, people who are younger may not know of YK92 or your role when President Moi was fighting for political life, that you were mobilizing the youth of Kenya and so forth, and you then got together with Ruto. Could you give us a synopsis of YK92 and how you met Ruto?
YK92 was a lobby group, just young men coming together who were able, and they went flat out to try and mobilize the country for retired President Moi.
What period was this, Cyrus?
This was 91 and ending up in 92 and up to 93, the earlier parts of 93 after elections. And the purpose was that at one time there was a serious agitation of multipartyism in the Republic. And the agitation had gone on for quite some time, repeal of Section 2A, so that multi-party could be accepted in the Republic of Kenya. And it was not easy, particularly for the people. There were so many things going on, it was difficult from the Moi, and we came in to try to work with him.
And let me then say, at that time, of 91 and so on, you are the chairman of YK92. What role was William Ruto in YK92? Because I'm trying to find out how your relationship began.
William Ruto was never part of Youth for Can 92. William Ruto was one of the young men who spent their time at KICC at the Youth and Women's Office with Dr. Julia Ojambo. I actually came to know William Ruto properly after elections in 1993. We worked closely with Julia Ojambo, and that is how I ended up knowing Ruto, and specifically when he came in to try and get some orders to supply T-shirts and all those sorts of things.
I see. So in terms of the joining KANU as a party and becoming a operative, you were very close to President Moi. Obviously, Ruto began his political life then. How did he enter into the Moi orbit? And what do you remember?
The truth be said, William Ruto then, after the 1992 campaign, where we lobbied for votes for Moi, he then looked for friendship with me through Fred Amayo, and they pushed very hard. I was a bit hesitant, but because of something that had happened, and I talked to Amayo. I told Fred Amayo, this young man, you brought him into my office and asked me to give him a contract to supply 10,000 T-shirts. You remember he did not supply the 10,000. Instead, he brought 1,000 T-shirts and repeatedly delivered the same T-shirts 10 times. So we ended up paying, or I ended up paying him 1.2 million shillings, because a T-shirt then was about 120 shillings. for the delivery of only 1,000 shillings. What he did was he tried and corrupted the young boys who were in the stores. And he would deliver 1,000 T-shirts, they give it back to him. He delivers again, they give it back to him 10 times. Yes. So I paid him 1.2 million instead of paying him for 1,000 T-shirts, which would have been 120,000. And that is the reason why I resisted when Fred Amayo tried to push him to become closer so that we work together after disbanding YK92.
Right, so that Kenyans can understand his journey. After that, how did he then jump in to be an assistant minister in the Moi government?
That is far much later.
Yes.
We worked together then. Amayo succeeded, Fred Amayo, and we worked together with William in the same office until 1997. And some of the things I feared when Amayo was trying to push him closer came to pass, including you agree with somebody, there is this work you need to do. He comes back and gives you the wrong quote. You give him money, the same money is discovered in his car in the evening. Those kind of things. You
know, Cyrus, I bring this issue because the deputy president was quoted in a function saying that the problem with you never move from the past. Ulikuwa mkubwa wake ama mdosi. Sasa wewe huwezi kukubali amekuwa mdosi.
You see,
I want Kenyans to understand that history.
When you try to get to whatever position using whatever means, including fraud, deception, and which is a hallmark of a lot of politicians in this country. Unfortunately, I was not made like that. I do my things fairly, in a very straight way. I do not take advantage of people. He does take advantage of people. He worked with President Moi. President Moi made him a deputy minister, and he moved on. I introduced him to President Moi. After that, he got rid of Moi. Moi meant nothing. He became Raila's friend. After that, Raila meant nothing. He stepped on Raila very roughly, tried to penetrate the Kibaki regime, finally ending up through struggle, because I know actually Uhuru resisted working with Ruto for quite a while through friends. Paul Ndungu tried to get him closer. Uhuru refused. It is Wanjigi who finally managed to push Ruto through to Uhuru. But I think Uhuru also read that there is a bit of trouble here, because history could tell him that this is a man, if he has no respect for Jirongo, he has no respect for Moi, he has no respect for Raila, and these are people who he has worked with in politics and tried. These people have played a role in his political life. Who am I, Uhuru Kenyatta, that this man is going to work with me, and he respects me, and we will work together for the good of this country.
So Jirongo, because this is point blank.
Yes.
Are you telling Kenyans who are watching you today that Ruto and Uhuru are not? It's not working.
They are not cut from the same leaf, as I might say. They are totally two different people. You have somebody who is deceptive, and you have somebody who is genuine and straight. It's very difficult for the two of you to work together competently and efficiently.
I have to ask you this because from where you sit, there's confusing headlines every day. There's Tanga Tanga, Kieleweke names that are all there out there in the media. But many times when the deputy president is speaking, he says, "Nimekutumwa na mdos, you send me here with 5 million or 1 million." Then tomorrow the headline, they are falling apart, they are not. You know, Jirongo, this country is in 2020. And I just would like you to tell Kenyans, is it broken with Kenyatta and Ruto?
I'm not seeing it working, and I saw it not working from the word go. It can never work because, as I've told you, you are dealing with totally two different individuals.
Yes. And then, if that is the case, I wanted to say this. Is it Kenyatta who betrayed Ruto? Because at least where the news headlines are, is that Kenyatta na Ruto walikuwa pamoja na Kenyatta anadanganya Ruto amempokonya. He is not keeping his word. Why do you think this has broken down?
History can bear out Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta on this. One, William Ruto fell out with the retired President Moi. He fell out with Raila. He fell out with me. And it is usual for him. After he has used you and he thinks you have no value anymore, the first time maybe, their first 5 years, Uhuru was useful. But for now, Uhuru is irrelevant as far as William is concerned. He wants to get to the next. And whoever he can use. That's why he's always in Central Province, near places. As a deputy president, if I'm going to my president's turf, surely I need his blessings and tell him I'm going to your turf. What message do you give me? What I can tell you without flinching an eye, most of those incursions Ruto has been making in Central Province, they stem from realizing, as far as it's concerned, that Uhuru is of no value to me anymore. Let me go. Let me see who I can groom. And the people I'll work with to achieve my ends. And of course, you expect Uhuru to be frustrated, other than the other issues that have played out very loudly, including corruption. Well,
Cyrus Jirongo says retired President Daniel Arap Moi and the upcoming William Samoei Arap Ruto are different people, cut from different cloths. Jirongo contends that Ruto dumped him or used him, and he did the same to retired Prime Minister Raila Odinga. Is there more than meets the eye to William Ruto? You're watching KTN News.